To build $500,000 by 35, I had to invest nearly $30,000 a year on average. My starting salary was only $62,000. So how did I do it? Not with a lucky stock, not with family money. I used 5 frugal habits that kept every raise, bonus, and major expense working toward the same number. And the 5th habit added nearly $60,000 by itself. At 23, my friend Ryan and I started our first serious jobs. We both earned about $62,000. We both had student loans, used cars, and no family money waiting in the background. Then Ryan received his first promotion. His salary increased to $71,000. Within months, he moved into a downtown apartment that cost $700 more. I remember visiting for the first time. New furniture, a rooftop view, a kitchen large enough to lose a small child in. Then I drove back to my old apartment and increased my automatic investment. Ryan added a monthly payment. I added an asset. A year later came his new truck and more expensive weekends. I received promotions too, but I kept most of my old lifestyle long enough to turn the difference into investments. We started with almost identical finances. By 35, our investment accounts were more than $350,000 apart. The difference began with the first habit. I saved every raise before I felt richer. Between my 401k, employer match, and Roth IRA, about $1,000 a month was being invested. It was not enough to reach $500,000, but it created the system. At 26, I earned about $76,000. At 29, roughly $91,000. With every raise, at least half of the increase went directly into investments before I adjusted my lifestyle. My annual contributions gradually rose from about $15,000 in my early 20s to more than $40,000 in my early 30s. I never had to suddenly find $40,000 inside an expensive lifestyle. I reached that number 1 raise at a time. This is where many people lose their strongest wealth-building years. Their salary rises, but their house, car, and recurring bills rise with it. They earn more without keeping more. Darling, the easiest money to save is money you have not yet learned to spend. My first $100,000 took until roughly age 28. The second arrived much faster because my contributions were larger and the portfolio had finally started working beside me. But before compounding could become powerful, I had to stop one expense from swallowing my contributions: housing. The second habit was keeping housing boring. Around that time, Ryan bought close to the maximum amount his bank approved. The payment looked manageable. Then property taxes rose. The air conditioner failed, and the house needed repairs that never appeared in the mortgage advertisement. I kept renting a modest 1-bedroom apartment and later a small duplex. My housing costs stayed roughly $900 to $1,100 below the more expensive options I could technically afford. Over several years, that difference redirected more than $80,000 into investments. With growth, housing accounted for well over $100,000 of my balance by 35. A larger home does not just bring a larger payment. It recruits higher taxes, repairs, utilities, and furniture. So I never asked, what will the bank allow me to buy? I asked, what can I live in while still investing enough to reach my goal? That question produced a cheaper address and a much larger portfolio. The third habit was never letting a car compete with my portfolio. At 30, Ryan's truck payment was more than $700 a month. The truck was comfortable. It was reliable. And most days it transported one man and a laptop. I drove a 6-year-old sedan I had bought used. After the loan was paid off, I kept transferring $500 a month, but into my brokerage account. That redirected about $30,000 before investment growth. I also kept a repair fund because an older car is only cheap if you can afford the repairs. The average new car payment reached $767 per month in late 2025. Invested for 12 years at 7%, that amount could grow to roughly $170,000. At that payment, a new car was potentially a $170,000 decision. The dealer showed me the monthly cost. My future showed me what it could have become. Only one of them decorated the answer with balloons. By 30, I had approximately $190,000 invested. That sounded impressive, but the goal was still more than $300,000 away, with only 5 years left. At my existing contribution rate of roughly $32,000 a year, I was heading toward about $450,000 by 35. Close, but not $500,000. I had spent 7 years doing almost everything right and was still on track to miss the goal by roughly $50,000. Cheaper meals and an older car were no longer enough. I needed my annual investments to rise above $40,000. So I took on larger responsibilities and changed employers when my compensation stopped growing. Frugality created the money I could invest. Career growth created more of it. The danger was not earning more. It was allowing the higher income to disappear into a higher lifestyle. That led to the fourth habit. I invested in skills, not status. I did not cut every expense. I cut the ones that made me look successful and kept the ones that helped me become more successful. In my late 20s, I paid about $3,000 for a professional certification. It helped me move into a role that paid roughly $14,000 more per year. I invested about half of that increase. Meanwhile, I avoided luxury leases, designer labels, and VIP upgrades that produced no return beyond appearance. Before spending, I asked, will this improve my health, save meaningful time, or increase my earning power? Or am I simply buying proof that I am doing well? Frugality is not always spending less. Sometimes the frugal choice is spending $3,000 on growth instead of $3,000 on appearance. The fifth habit created my biggest acceleration after age 30. Every bonus, tax refund, and unexpected payment went into investments until I reached $500,000. My first meaningful bonus was about $4,000 after taxes. I wanted a motorcycle. For 3 weeks, I watched reviews and imagined arriving somewhere looking considerably more interesting than I actually was. Then I invested the money. A later bonus added roughly $9,000. A tax refund added $2,000. A freelance project produced another $3,500. Across 12 years, irregular income contributed more than $45,000. With growth, it represented close to $60,000 of the final balance. Windfalls are powerful because your normal life does not depend on them. They are not free money. They are unassigned money. And unassigned money disappears remarkably fast. At 34, my balance crossed $487,000. It was spread across a 401k, Roth IRA, taxable brokerage account, and cash reserves. I was only $13,000 away. Then the market fell. Within weeks, almost $30,000 disappeared from the screen. Suddenly, I was more than $40,000 short again. After more than a decade of disciplined saving, I moved farther away from the goal without buying a single thing. That was the final test. Not finding another expense to cut, not working another weekend, doing nothing. I continued buying the same diversified funds through automatic contributions. Several months later, new investments and a market recovery pushed the balance above $500,000 shortly before my 35th birthday. Over 12 years, my annual investing had risen from about $15,000 to more than $40,000. That rising contribution rate, not one lucky stock or one perfect market year, carried me across the line. The returns will never repeat in exactly the same order. The system can. Ryan was not broke at 35. He had a good salary, a home, a truck, and about $140,000 invested. I had just over $500,000. I still traveled, went to games, and enjoyed my life. I simply did not let every promotion redesign it. Ryan bought the upgraded lifestyle first. I bought financial assets first. At 35, that difference was worth roughly $360,000. If my $500,000 remained invested for another 30 years and earned an average of 7%, it could grow to approximately $3.8 million without another contribution. My goal was never to look wealthy at 27. It was to become difficult to financially frighten by 35. The first $500,000 did not buy status. It bought options.